Pyke began his life in Bilgewater working on the slaughter docks in Bloodharper, where he dealt with the grueling task of butchering sea monsters for meager pay. Seeking greater wealth, he joined a ship's crew and became a renowned harpooner, especially skilled at hunting jawfish for their valuable sapphire sacks. During one dangerous hunt, Pyke leapt into the mouth of a massive jawfish, but when the creature attacked the ship, the captain panicked and cut Pyke's lifeline, leaving him to be swallowed alive. In the crushing depths of the ocean, Pyke miraculously survived, awakening with a vengeful hunger. Returning to Bilgewater, Pyke began a killing spree, targeting those associated with the slaughter docks. He became known as the Bloodharper Ripper, striking fear into the hearts of captains, merchants, and criminals. Despite the bounty on his head, Pyke continues his relentless hunt, turning Bilgewater's hunters into his prey. The darkness of the night settled over the narrow streets of Bilgewater. The air was mixed with the salty scent of the sea. Silence reigned at the harbor, but it was a false silence. Danger lurked around every corner. Pyke moved silently through the shadows. Known as the Assassin, Pyke had chosen his prey, Captain Vander. Vander was a ruthless pirate who played a major role in Bilgewater's dark affairs. But tonight would be Vander's last night. Pyke approached the tavern where Vander was. The lights inside indicated a celebration. Drunken laughter and the clinking of glasses came from within. Pyke slipped through the shadows like a ghost, reaching the back door of the tavern. Silently, he moved behind the two guards at the door. Drawing his blade, he swiftly took them down with two quick moves. Inside, his eyes immediately found Vander. The captain was sitting at a large table, celebrating his victory. His men were drinking and laughing with him. Pyke waited for a distraction from a pirate at the other end of the table, then sprang into action. Leaping onto the table from the shadows, he caught Vander's men by surprise. Vander's smile froze as he looked up and saw Pyke. With swift and deadly strikes, Pyke took down Vander's men one by one. Every move was flawless, honed by years of experience. Chaos engulfed the tavern. Screams and gunfire echoed. Vander retreated in fear, but he knew he couldn't escape Pyke's grasp. Pyke walked towards Vander, his eyes cold and deadly. Vander, in a last desperate attempt, drew his sword, but Pyke disarmed him in a swift motion. "This is your last night, Vander," Pyke whispered, his voice icy cold. Vander's eyes widened in fear. "Wait! There's something you need to know before you kill me," he pleaded. Pyke held his blade to Vander's throat but paused for a moment. "Talk," he commanded. "Captain Nick," Vander said, panting. "He's the one who left you to die in the fish's mouth. I was just following orders, but you can find him. Just spare me, and I'll tell you where he is." Pyke considered Vander's words and pushed him aside. "I'm sparing you, but remember, I'll be watching you," Pyke said menacingly. Then he left the tavern, disappearing into the shadows. As Pyke walked through the shadows, a buried memory surfaced. A jawling vessel, 4 masts, tattered sails on enormous waves, Mazier's blue eyes and Vander's filthy brown eyes, and, of course, the captain. The captain who left Pyke to die in the fish's mouth. The captain's name was Nick, a ruthless and merciless pirate. Pyke delved into Bilgewater's darkest corners to track Nick. He whispered to the right people to spread the news of his hunt. It didn't take long to learn where Captain Nick had gone. A week later, Pyke arrived at an old shipyard where Nick had anchored one night. The shipyard had been abandoned years ago and was now home only to rats and ghosts. Pyke slipped through the shadows, entering the shipyard. Nick was sitting at a massive table studying maps. Surrounding him were a few men who looked even more ruthless than Vander. Pyke silently took them down one by one. Finally, he stood face to face with Nick. When Nick saw Pyke, fear flickered in his eyes for a moment, but he quickly regained his composure. Pyke, Nick growled. I thought I killed you. You were wrong, Pyke said, his eyes burning with vengeance. Now, it's your turn. Nick drew his sword and attacked Pyke. But Pyke moved like a ghost through the shadows, evading Nick's strikes. A fierce battle ensued, steel clashing against steel, sparks flying. Finally, Pyke broke through Nick's defense and cornered him. The captain's eyes filled with despair as he lost his sword. Please, show mercy, Nick begged. Mercy? Pyke scoffed. You showed me none, now the sea will take you. As Pyke delivered the final blow, Nick's body collapsed to the ground. Pyke paused for a moment to ensure his job was done. Before disappearing into the shadows, he left a mark on the shipyard wall, a bloody fish symbol. Pyke vanished into the night, but the unrest within him hadn't subsided. Even though his list of vengeance was complete, the sea would always present new prey, and Pyke, the hunter in the shadows, would continue to stalk his prey in Bilgewater's dark streets.